The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
No! I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown this girl that I meet. I'm gonna talk.
Hey everybody, it's time for the F word, and this is Kathy, and it is already the end of October. In Minnesota, the end of October just kind of really makes you think of what's coming up next. So we've already had snow in October, had me a little cranky, but next is Halloween. It's supposed to be in the 30s, so the kids will be wearing their coats over, or they'll have their costumes will be a couple sizes too big so they can wear their coats under. But me, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to Atlanta to see one of my favorite F words, and that would be Fran Tarkenton. But it has been some interesting weather around here. I know I always talk about it because it's Minnesota and that's what we do. But it's been, like last week it was warm and in the 70s, then it goes down to the 50s, and then it goes back up to the 70s, and now it's in the 30s. And I wonder why. I just feel kind of raggedy. Anyway, but speaking about weather, I want to bring on my guest tonight. I'm really excited for you to get to know him. A while back we had my friend Eddie Pham on, and Wil Cashen, my dear, darling, amazing, wonderful friend, which is another one of my favorite F words, by the way, is on with us tonight. And we're going to learn about what makes him, what's another word for a tick that starts with an F? I don't know. But anyway, he's on the West Coast, folks. So, you know, I'm in Minnesota. So when I'm talking about weather all the time, Will, what's your weather like today?
Well, the weather's really been beautiful and dry. I live in Beverly Hills, and yesterday, a lot of folks lost their home because of fires.
That's
in fact,
the F word.
The area, LeBron James, yeah, that's the worst F word.
Yeah.
LeBron James had to get out of his house. And
did he lose it?
Jay Leno and a bunch. No, it was. They were able to get it out, but it's kind of hard for people in the Midwest. I'm from Indiana originally. Okay. I actually went to school, the same school that Rudy did, about the same time.
Yeah.
A guy from the film. And so, yeah, the weather was really, really nice. And it's nice like this. Creates a thing called the Santa Ana winds. And the Santa Ana winds start blowing, and when they blow, somebody accidentally lights a fire, and it really, really grows quickly. And one burnt down Malibu, where I did live for some time before I moved back to Beverly Hills. And the house that I lived in got burnt down. And anyway.
No, it's so hard because, I mean, you realize what matters. I mean, because, I mean, we lose things. My family lost, we had a big fire up at our cabin, and 17 homes were lost. Our garage that had everything that we've had since the 50s, that burned down, lost a couple of cars and a boat. And it's weird when you really look through everything and it's like, okay, we made it through. I mean, my parents were able to evacuate just in time, but it's crazy, excuse me, how just that quick. You know what started the one up there was a spark from a forest. Hey, there we go. There's an F word. Truck that, because they do a lot of lumber stuff up there, and it was just a spark from a truck. It's that easy. We complete havoc.
Well, it happens a lot here in California for a lot of different reasons. But anyway, today we had left fires, and they're putting out most of them. So hopefully the winds will pick up. It'll be nice again.
Well, so when that happens, well, I'm really curious because I've seen the after effect and the complete change of the landscape up at our cabin. I mean, all these trees are gone, and I mean, does it completely? I mean, I know how different it looks there. I mean, does it take forever for it to come back there too?
You mean for the land to regrow?
Yeah.
No, there's no trees. It's all tumbleweed and it's all ground growth, and it comes back within 1 to 2 years. It's completely back alive again, and that's good and that's bad.
Right.
You know, during the rainy season, you know, you hear about the terrors of California. 3 terrors of California are earthquakes, landslides, and fires.
Yeah, all the worst things I could even imagine.
Well, I don't know. Tornadoes aren't very good. I lived in the Midwest, and we had a few tornadoes, and I lived in the East Coast, and we had a few hurricanes. But
you know what though? To me, tornadoes. You get the tornado watch, and then you get the tornado warning. Granted, you don't get like all the warning that you get with hurricanes. Hurricanes generally, you get seems like a week even, doesn't it? It's like it's out there and it's coming in. I mean, I've always been super afraid of tornadoes, but I'm always curious too. So I stand outside and look and watch the sky.
Well, I've been in 3 of them, and none of them have been good. That's for sure.
Seriously, so you've been like hit where you've had damage and.
Oh yeah, I was in Elkhart, Indiana in 1967 when the entire town was leveled.
Oh my God!
Small little town leveled to the ground. So yeah, they get tough. That's for sure.
No, they do.
It's weirder in California though when you have an earthquake because you can't go anywhere. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. So you just got to get out of the house and stand out in the middle of the street.
No, I was in the Whittier earthquake in '87.
Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, and I was in the shower, so I'm naked, and I had no idea what was going on. And my boyfriend slash fiance, stupid F word, it was stupid, it didn't work out. But he excuse me, everybody, he yanks me out of the shower, and there I am, naked and wet, and just holds on to me under the bathroom doorway. And I'd been there for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months already. Earthquake wasn't even a thought in my head. And I'm going, that freaked me out. That was a big one too.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, so that was just like, and you know what that did to me though, was it kind of messed me up for everything else that I normally did there. Because, like, if I, because he was like, you always got to stand in a doorway, what he had told me. And so to go to the grocery store, I was freaked out because the whole front of it was glass. I went, oh my God, where do I stand if an earthquake hits? It was always in the back of my mind. I didn't stay there much longer after that, by the way. It didn't end well, so it made it easier for me to leave.
I guess.
So, okay, so you grew up in Indiana. I'm headed to Kentucky on Friday. But I love that part of the country. Everybody's so friendly. They really are. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, Indiana is a great place to be friendly.
I'm sorry, excuse me. So, what part of Indiana? Elkhart?
Actually, South Bend.
Okay.
I'm from Mishawaka and South Bend area, where Notre Dame is.
Okay. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. So, growing up, tell me about your family.
Well, my dad was a factory worker.
Okay.
Ball band. That later became military. And my mom was a veterinarian.
Wow.
And and I was kind of a crazy kid. I was a real about engineering. My dad restored antique aircraft, and so
Wow.
I was very involved with that and doing those kind of things, and that was pretty exciting for me growing up.
Antique aircraft would kind of freak me out a little bit. So you
No,
storm and then
it's all
flying?
good stuff. No, it's all good stuff. Open cockpits. I got my private license in a 1922 Fairchild parasol wing airplane.
Wow.
And, yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Wow.
So then I went into the Air Force and did all that stuff.
Thank you very much.
I was at a time when we all had to do those kind of things. My draft number was 5. I was in college at Notre Dame, so.
So how long did you serve?
I was in just for 3 years. I just went to flight school and was a weapons officer, and I got out on a special program because Vietnam was just starting to turn down, and they didn't want any more pilots or air crew, and so I was able to get out, and then got out, and a professor at Notre Dame, Dr. Andrew Zatteray, had applied for me to get into a college in Germany called Ferman, which is a kind of a sophisticated engineering college. I still have no idea how I got in there. But then I went to Germany, grabbed my wife at the time and my kids, and we all moved to Germany.
How exciting. Was it,
Yeah.
You think about, like when you go over there, did you speak the language at all? Will?
Hello?
Oh, there
I'm
you
sorry.
are. Nope, that's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I lost you for a second. What was your question?
I said, when you went over there, did you speak German?
No, not at all. I picked it all up immediately because it was unusual. I liken it to just having to learn because I had to learn immediately everything because I was on the economy and working.
Uh-huh.
I had got a job working on Porsches because of my fondness for those cars, and did all that fun stuff. It was great.
Okay, so that's so neat. So I have a girlfriend. I don't know what's going on. This is what's going on with my voice. Excuse me. The weather keeps changing. That's what I keep saying. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so cold. I was just outside running around, picking up some stuff because I'm traveling. But one of my girlfriends moved out there. She married a doctor. And I remember just being so upset because I'm like, I marry my plastic surgeon for crying out loud. He's single. She even went on a date with him, and she had to marry this German ear, nose, throat specialist, leave me and move all the way over there, and have 3 kids. But she understood German a little bit, but, it's not, now she's been living there for 13 years, but, it would be really scary in a sense. I'd probably say all the wrong stuff, get in trouble. So her children, what I think is really neat is that they're bilingual. Are your kids bilingual?
No, it's been a long time since we lived in Germany. They're all older, and my kids are all grown up. My youngest is 30 years old. So.
Yeah, because her kids are. She speaks to them in English, and then their father speaks to them in German. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, just to go over there without knowing the language, you have to learn. My grandfather moved here when he was 10 from Estonia, and his father said, "Well, we're in America now. We speak English." So we better learn it. So, yeah, that's crazy. So you were working on, you said Porsches there?
Yeah, I worked in Karlsruhe, and later I went to work for Porsche Racing and did a bunch of stuff there and raced all over Germany, and then I went all over the world for about 8 months and ran a minor team for Porsche. I worked directly for Matt Frayecki, who was Dr. Pich's underling, who had Dr. Pich just had passed away just this year. So anyway, yep, I did all that and came back to America and was very involved with engineering and designed software for the automotive business and built robotic systems, software systems for the car companies, and built a good business and sold that business, and then retired for a while and got into another business that had to do more with real estate software and developed that business, and it became Realtor.com. And then
So wait, so
retired.
that's okay. So back up, because that's kind of a big deal. Everybody's heard of Realtor.com too. So you're the one, you're the brains and the brawn.
Well, I'm not the only one. I'm one of many. But we started a company, and I joined that company, and we developed all the software for the real estate company. For this real estate industry, and we developed the software that actually was the enterprise system that allowed people to. We're the first ones to come up with a system to allow people to buy a house online, and then I sold my shares out of that, and I kind of slowed down again, and then I opened up a Porsche and Ferrari dealership in Malibu, where I lived for 20-some years, and then sold that and decided to help my friends in 2009 in Elkhart, Indiana again, because that was the time of the Great Recession. It was actually a depression, if you really want to know the truth as far as I'm concerned. At least it wasn't that area. And I went back to Indiana, and I built the first electric truck under the program with the Obama administration for the funding that was available, and that program was then, I completed that, and it went to the wayside because the funding from the Obama administration dried up, and started another program for Jeep, building the first Jeep trailer, which camper for Jeeps. That was really exciting, and built a bunch of those and sold them through Jeep stores all over the United States, and sold that business. Came back to California.
Get out of here.
And then I started the Tesla Foundation. And
Tesla. Yeah. So the Tesla Foundation, is that like the car itself?
No, it's like the person, Nikola Tesla. Okay. There's a movie out right now called The Current Wars. For any of your listeners, if they want to go to the movies, they'll get a little bit of insight of who Nikola Tesla was. He was actually the inventor of the AC motor, and was very much a proponent of AC current and AC distribution. The AC motor is how you generate electricity today, and unfortunately didn't get very much notoriety, and no one knows about him. The reason why you know the name now is because Elon decided to buy an electric car company called Tesla, and he invested in that company some number of years ago. I think it was 2004, something like that, and then he took that company over and has built it to what it is today.
Wow. No, they're beautiful. I see them all over the place.
Yeah, well, I think his real business is the battery business and satellites. You look at SpaceX and you look at his, car company. He builds a lot of cars, without a doubt, but he's really building some big battery factories. So he has something in mind for that.
I wonder what.
To sell batteries to every car manufacturer and phone manufacturer, and everywhere there's going to be batteries needed, which is virtually the entire universe.
Well, exactly, the universe. I mean, if you're on the moon, you have electricity, right? Yes.
Yep.
So then
he'll be the solar person and the battery person, and he'll be the SpaceX will launch satellites.
Oh my God! So seriously, what do you attribute your being? And I'm just gonna say it. You're being so smart. Do you think it was working on the antique planes back when you were a kid? Is that what got your pistons moving?
I don't know how smart I am, but I have just high interest in mechanical things, But yeah, working on airplanes was definitely a great learning tool for me. And I like music, and my background's really in math and physics.
Wow.
And so all that, I imagine, had something to do with making me who I've become.
Gosh, it's so cool. Well, okay, music. Now, you got to tell me about your background in that.
I was in a rock group for a while with a bunch of kids, and all the stuff that everybody did in the '60s.
That's so fun.
Yeah. Toward the Midwest.
Did you really? Would we have heard of you?
I don't think so.
But that fun, man. You were like.
But yeah, we had fun. Had fun doing all that, all that kid stuff.
Yeah, groupies.
But at the same time, I was going to college and doing everything else. So I had a pretty busy life.
All right. So you were kind of a hippie, smart guy.
No.
No?
No, probably not too much of a hippie, but I was more of a rock and roll guy than I was a hippie.
Okay.
I was out there wanting to make records and make music and do all the rest of that stuff, but then got real busy with school, and then Uncle Sam came knocking, and that changed everything.
Oh my God. So my dad was drafted back in '61. Up with Fort Collins, Colorado, and then he was supposed to be an infantry. Before he left, and he was stationed, and he was getting ready to go to, I feel bad, but they came to him and they offered him a post in Washington, D.C., and he became guard at the Tomb of the.
Wow.
He never had to go overseas.
Well, I was lucky for sure at that time. So
Right.
I was drafted in 1970. So
Yeah.
and it was things were pretty hot in Vietnam during that time. But then during my 3-year stint, things started to taper off quickly.
He really lucked out there, but then he stayed in for 38 years. He was a command sergeant major when he retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. My mom was a first sergeant. Not join. There was no way. I was
no interest.
Zero interest. I mean, and the thing is, I had no idea, and then the level of respect that my dad had, because he was like command sergeant major of the 88th Air Company. Thousands and thousands of troops. But someone explained to me once, and when I was at the bar, of course, underage, of course, that it's like, wait, your dad is who? Oh my gosh, I know who your dad is. Like, you realize when your dad walks in the room, we all shut up? Oh, really? I was such a snotty little teenager. I don't even know how he dealt with me without, oh my gosh. I was just such a little snot. I tell him sorry all the time now.
Yeah, well, that's a tough thing, that's for sure. Growing up in that family, without a doubt, military family, that's a tough life. So.
But I didn't, you know what though? But Will, I didn't listen ever. I did what I wanted. It's like, oh, what are they going to do? Ground me? Oh, well, I'll just sneak out then. I was horrible.
Yeah.
It's just like, he could not control me. Like, okay, well, we're going to take the car away from you. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
And then they'd leave, and I'd sneak the keys, and I'd take the car, and think I had it parked the right way. I just realized that whatever the punishment wasn't really that bad, because I could get my way around it.
Yeah, well, you were a troublemaker, without a doubt.
There's 3 amazing boys that really weren't that bad.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
I don't know. So it's gonna skip a generation. It'll be my kids' problems. So,
well, do you want to talk about a little bit about our football program and what we're trying to do with?
I do. Before we do that, what I want to do is tell me what the Tesla Foundation is.
Well, it is a foundation that was focused specifically on education for autonomous operations for robotics in drones and in vehicles, and for the most part, it was very focused on that. I wrote separate curriculum for drones, for aerial robotics and things like that we had distributed to high schools and colleges.
Oh, wow.
And before I left 2 years ago. And so that's what that business was.
Okay. No, that's really interesting. I mean, drones, everything else. I mean, Will, I am so technologically challenged. I don't want to know how it works. You're the one that knows how it works. I just
want to use it.
I just want to use it, right?
Yep.
And so
right.
It's the guys like you and everybody that you've worked with on all of this stuff. I mean, you're the ones that actually get in there and make it happen. So thank you for all of that.
Yep. It's fun stuff. It's fun stuff.
I'm definitely job security for IT people, help desk people, all of that. So trust me, that's so good. But yeah, so you went from the Tesla Foundation, left there a couple years ago, and you met Eddie. Tell me how you met Eddie. So how did this all happen?
Yeah, it's the world is forever changing, isn't it?
Always. Good. Otherwise, I'd be bored. So,
Yep.
So how did you meet Eddie and get to where we're at today? So ultimately, getting to know me.
Well, Eddie was. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
Eddie came to one of my presentations, one of my speaking engagements for Tesla
Okay.
about autonomy for UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. And he met me there. He came up afterwards and said that he had an idea for a card, that he needed someone who had, at least my capabilities, I guess, to create something in those terms. And basically, when he explained it to me, it was not as sophisticated as it become, but it was sophisticated in its thought process to begin with initially anyway. The ultimate product that we're working on developing right now, that will be finished toward the end of next year, is basically a microcomputer that is the size of a credit card.
Okay.
And that computer is designed to do transactions only.
So explain that. So to do transactions only.
Well, it's just like a credit card. If you imagine using your credit card, it's there to do transaction only. It doesn't provide any types of communication. The difference with this tool is it allows you it's a credit card emulator. It allows you to transfer funds all over the world without the use of bank. And it has many other tasks that are related to transactions, purchasing. It's not used as a communication tool. That's used specifically and only for transactions. It makes it so people don't have to carry 50,000 credit cards. They can have one card that has everything in it. And it also makes it so that all of their data, purchasing and everything else, is provided to them at the end of the month. And so it's pretty easy for them to do their taxes or whatever, because there's always, as long as they're using that card, all the cashless transactions all happen through the card, and they're being tallied as those transactions are taking place. The ultimate move for the card will be to eliminate POS systems, point of purchase systems.
Right.
Totally.
Wow.
So that when you at the grocery, you never have to walk through a checkout lane again, because everything happens as you're taking the products off the shelf.
Okay, so now I didn't realize that part of it. That's crazy to me. And you said something else that really jumped out at me. So taxes. That's a huge thorn in everyone's side. I mean, you're just like, oh, God, I gotta go through all of this. So this would automate that for you? Ooh. Still there, but I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll tally all of the purchases and transactions that you complete during the year.
Right, and then it'll put it into the different
Yeah, it'll categorize.
Wow. Okay, so because I know people that own tax companies, so they want this, or do they?
Well, there's always going to be all different kinds of frailties in the tax system because the tax system has been created by, governments and are created by bureaucracy that decides, how the laws change on a year-by-year basis, whether it be through the state or whether it be from federal government. So there's always going to be, narrative attached to the taxes that change the rule of those transactions based on the rule of law, the tax law. So,
yeah.
But more than anything, the tool is as Steve Jobs, so eloquently said when he created the iPhone, that the iPhone wasn't a computer for the Apple distribution. It was a new type of phone that would be distributed through all the telephony networks, through telecoms like AT&T, everywhere else. He didn't plan to have mass distribution through Apple. He wanted to distribute everything through telephone companies, which he did, and that's what made it so big. And that's our whole design and model for the launch of our product. It will be distributed through banks, because banks are the ones most likely to benefit from the distribution of this card, because it'll do so many things from a transaction standpoint.
Well, and then it also, when you're talking about transaction standpoint, the data analytics side of it, huge.
The data. It'll benefit the user more than it benefits the user currently,
Right.
That is the environment that'll be on the card, like centralizing data control, and it will be decentralized because each of us will carry our own data, so it won't be possible for everyone to steal all of our data from one location, because it'll never be there.
Right.
It'll be in your card.
I was literally talking to one of my advisors today in San Diego, and she was pulling up to get a prescription filled, and she's like, I can't find my debit card. I've got like 7 of them, and I can't find the one that I wanted to use. Here's this one. And I literally thought of the card today. I'm like, wow, imagine how much easier it would be, rather than having to go through all these different cards for these different accounts, have it all there. And you're able to have different accounts. Like if you've got a business account, that would be on the one card, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can have as many cards as you want in there. It wouldn't make any difference.
So I would know. So let's say I pull up to the gas station.
And it has a screen on it. That's the most interesting thing is the unit. The smart card has a display on it, just like the one that's on your watch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same size, about 46 millimeters, 41 millimeters. It's a very small display, but it's legible. You can read it as you can the one on your watch, and you can do different functions as you do on the one on your watch. And that's one of the things that has made this possible for us to create this card, is that the technology for micro displays is available, and also the technology for the battery chemistry is available, and the technology for the chipset is available. So we plan to use a Snapdragon chip in it, which is a very, very small chip, but extremely powerful. And, the packaging is a nightmare. It's 1 millimeter thick.
Wow.
And you know how thick a credit card is. It's pretty thin.
Yeah.
So ultimately it'll be the smallest computer ever made. And, it'll probably end up being used for a lot of other functions because it will be the smallest computer ever made. But the thing that we're, more than interested in is just to be able to provide it to consumers around the world as we move into a cashless society.
Right, which we're definitely doing.
Yeah, third world countries, it's already happening.
Right. Okay, so
that's the ultimate card. The card that we're starting with right now that we have distribution on is the one that you and I have been involved with deeply, and that is our winning card, our winning rewards card. And we built a reward system because ultimately we knew that was the most important thing, was to give consumers benefit from having our final product, which is the smart card.
right.
But before that, we have a lot of benefits that can be provided to people, which is through our winning card. And our winning card basically is a tool that's used to distribute through sporting events, at high schools, you name it, so that people can become a part of something. They can be part of a team, they can be part of a high school, they can be part of a football league, they can be part of about anything. And they're rewarded on a monthly basis as they continue to either reapply or continue to be a part of that process through whatever fees the supplier of those cards want to be, or the team or the high school or whatever. It'll be used to raise money for high schools, for booster events, and on and on.
Well, right, let's think about, for example, the high school football team here in Haston, where I live. So, they're always they're doing booster things. Now, would a school, I'm thinking out loud, so everybody that's listening, that's involved in youth sports, my gosh, not just youth sports, but debate, theater, all of that. So each school essentially will, if I'm correct, they could get their own amount of cards. Because I know what I've done in the past is they'll sell you a card for $20, and you use it. It's got these different little tabs on it. It's like, okay, I can get buy one get one free pizza at this place for the whole year, or I can get 20% off an oil change. So in essence, I'm getting something like that, right? But on steroids, way more.
Yeah, we have nearly 1 million providers between hotels and food services and foods and you name it. And so the consumer is, benefits from that. So let's just say that they decide to join a high school that is distributing these cards to support the high school, and their monthly fee would be $4.99 for a $50 value card. So they would have $50 worth of coupon or offer value on literally tens of thousands of items in their town that they would use that card for. And by paying the $4.99 a month, they would be supporting their high school. If they wanted to have a higher number, $100 a month, they would pay $9.95, and if they wanted to have $250 a month, they'd pay $14.95. So in doing all those things, they're supporting their high school. So you get 2 or 3 or 5 or 10,000 people who are signed up to the high school, local high school, moms and dads, and they're paying on this continuity program on a monthly basis. The school is constantly getting funded for programs that are being defunded right now, which are sports and music, and we all know what they all are.
Right.
As budgets dry up. So this becomes a program that is supported by the families, friends, and businesses in the neighborhood for that high school, which is really a great thing.
I love that. And you know what? I just thought of, so in funding like music schools, here's what just popped into my head. Because the first time I heard of the card, the first thing that did pop into my head was Prince. And living across from Paisley Park, I mean, it's, you know, every single time I leave or come back to my house, I see Paisley. I was thinking how cool it would look as if it was purple, had the Prince symbol, right? But one of the things that Prince was very silently doing, he was very philanthropic, which, by the way, is not an F word. It sounds like one. He was very philanthropic towards music schools. And I feel like if I bring this to, and I know who I could go to for Prince of the State, but I mean, we could let them know that they could use that to help fund the programs that he was funding before.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
I come up with a couple of them a day. Have you noticed that?
I know, me too. Me too. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, no, we will, because
obviously we're focused right now.
Yeah.
Another F word focused. We're focused on football.
Focus,
the other
good F word, football. Yeah. Football focused philanthropy. But okay, so what I want to do now then is let's talk about a certain someone that I brought to you and how you see that working out with the different programs, with the different schools, because you mentioned like Notre Dame went there, and with our friend Rudy, are you taking it over there? What's happening?
Yeah, well, we may very well do that. Hold on just one second.
Okay. Well, folks, while we wait, we're just holding on. Well, but I introduced Rudy, the movie Rudy, to them. And Rudy absolutely loved it. When I told him about it, he goes, I'm in. When do we talk to them? And we got on a phone call with Rudy. And Rudy said, I'm in. When can I meet you? And then you and Eddie went to Las Vegas, met with Rudy.
Yep.
And take it from there.
Yeah, well, basically, Rudy and I, it was kind of old school. Although I didn't know him when I was at school at Notre Dame.
But did you know of him?
No.
Okay.
I was in the physics department, mathematics. I was working in a wind tunnel. I was doing science stuff, and he was doing sports stuff. So strangely enough, our paths didn't cross at the time, and I actually thought he wasn't in school at the same time I was. But then come to find out later, he was. He's 3 years older than I am. And he was later going into college. I was real young when I went into college. I got a scholarship, and I went in at 16.
Wow.
Into Notre Dame, and so it kind of worked on a different level for me. And like I said, I was very, very involved with mathematics and physics and the sciences. And so I hate to say this, but I never even went to one Notre Dame football game at the time.
Isn't that funny? Wow.
As crazy as that might sound, so.
So you met with them, and then you realized, I mean, because neither of you had any, I mean, you knew of him because of the
of course,
movie.
I saw the movie.
Yeah,
I saw the movie, and then I said, well, gosh, it sounds like he went to school the same time I did. And then when I met him, not only did he go to school the same time I did, but when he moved from Pittsburgh, he actually stayed in South Bend after graduating college, and he worked for people that I worked for.
That's so weird. What did you guys do?
It was old home week for us when we met one another.
That's crazy. And so that's like instant brotherhood. I mean, instant.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. And Rudy is just, he's everything that you would think he'd be. As the movie depicts him, that's who he is. The biggest heart in the world, the most friendly guy in the world. And you know, because you're the one who has set the whole thing up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Not of course knowing of our mutual backgrounds.
I didn't know. Isn't that crazy? That's
Yep.
crazy. I know. It's so weird how things line themselves up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So what Rudy's agreed to do, and we're working through the details right now, but what he's agreed to do is do a Rudy card. So there now is going to be a Rudy winning card, and that Rudy winning card is made specifically for football teams, for high schools and for colleges, you know, for collegiate, and it's really really important thing because it depicts and promotes Rudy's message of never quit, never stop. Because if you know anything about Rudy, he never quit and never stopped. The movie was one thing that depicted him making it onto the football field, but getting the movie done that few people know about was actually a bigger challenge that Rudy was able to overcome. And after you talked to me about it, I was so impressed and so proud of his ability and his tenacity to do something of that scale.
Yeah. I mean, he literally, knocked on doors. I mean, didn't he show up at the producer's house?
Yeah, he did. He was supposed to meet the producer at a restaurant. He came out here to California several times, that he funded himself from working for people in South Bend.
Selling
He was
insurance.
starved. This is after college. I mean, he didn't, after going to school in Notre Dame, he probably could have went and got a pretty good job somewhere. But he didn't. He stayed there because his interest was to make this movie about himself and being at Notre Dame. And he was able to make that happen. He went back and forth to California until he found somebody to, you know, he had created an overview of the movie, and he was able to finally find somebody who was excited about producing it. And it took him forever, not even excited. They weren't even interested. He forced the issue, and he got it done, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it is. Whenever I ask people, it's like, you know, what is the most inspirational football movie? Rudy.
That's it. That's right.
And I never realized how many times his name is brought up.
Yeah, I truly think it's one of the most inspirational movies, period. You know, I mean, it's right up there with all of them. I mean, all those movies, the one with, you know, a lot of crazy things in Indiana. I mean, the kids that made the movie, what was it about the bikes in southern Indiana? I can't remember the name of the movie now, but anyway, racing bicycles.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway, all that was pretty amazing, and that was an Indiana movie too, all about, you know, making it or breaking it. You know, that's a pretty good Midwestern, you know, good things to say, good things to do.
Well, and I think everybody
Are those quartz?
Everybody wants to see that if they work hard and they put their mind to it, they can do it too.
Yeah, never give up. And that's what Rudy's whole message is, that he wants to continue to deliver for the rest of his life. Is number one is that it doesn't matter if it's football or whatever it is, it's never give up and never quit.
Nope, and that's where this card comes in so well. And now there's more to it. So when you get the card, let's just put the listeners in the spot where they're walking into their favorite. Oh, okay. I'm going to bring up University of Minnesota because you know what? We are 8-0 right now, folks, and we're playing Penn State next. So we're walking into Gopher Stadium, and there's these cute girls handing out these cards. So,
Well, actually, it would be at the ticket counter when you're walking in with the tickets to go through the rotisserie. You'd receive a card then. That way, everybody in the entire stadium ends up with a card.
okay, it's kind of like when you get the bobbleheads, right?
Yep.
You're gonna get a Rudy.
Yep.
You'll get a Rudy card.
Yep, get a Rudy winning card.
Okay. They're gonna get their Rudy winning card. They're gonna hand it to you when you go in, turn in your ticket, and then what happens next?
Well, there's if you download the app for the stadium for the team, for in your case,
Minnesota Gophers.
right, you would download an app, or you would wait till you get home, take the card, read the website on the back, and plug the password number that's on the card, and then you would have access to become a member of the team.
Okay, so
And you sign up for the team. You sign up to become a member of the team, and from there you go immediately to their website. It has all their stats, everything about them, all about the team. You're now a member of that team, and you get rewards and everything on a daily basis, a minute-by-minute basis, whatever you'd like to get these rewards to support your team.
Okay, so tell me, as the consumer, how am I supporting the team? You guys gave me this card.
Well, because every month when you're spending money to the $4.99 a month that you've now enrolled on the website,
Okay.
so that you'll get your rewards.
Right.
The team gets some of that money in order to pay for uniforms, to do whatever.
Yes.
So also they can use that money to give to high schools that are trying to, a lot of colleges give, which a lot of people don't know, give a lot of money to junior schools, junior high schools, and high schools,
Right.
For their sports programs.
Wow. Okay.
So all the unfunded programs get funded by the community.
No, and that's what people, so that's what everybody, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the schools that you're going
Don't
to,
have
you're
funding.
watching Homecoming, you're going, I mean, my gosh, there's so many opportunities. And now, isn't there, like, when you're on the app, that's when some live things can be coming across too, right?
Yeah, well, what we do on the app and on the website is we push gifts to the customers. We can give them, the club members, rather. In that case, we would give them, gifts. We have sweepstakes. We have a lot of things that are real fun. And we have photographs and pictures of the team and things that you don't get normally that we provide in the system, so that each one of our excited new club members get to see things and get to see about players and get all the stats about players, and they can enjoy everything there is about that club and the team and the school.
No, I love that. So, I mean, you can find out alumni information.
Yes, ticketing information, everything.
Genius. And the thing is, everybody, is that you're going to go shopping anyway. You're going to buy food anyway. Why not do it and have it benefit your organization and, more importantly, you? Because you're getting the savings. So if I'm spending, like, let's say $5 a month, seriously, I mean, that's what, $60 a year?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, $60 a year. I mean, we waste that on nothing anyway. So what you're doing on $60 a month, are actually.
You mean a year? You mean $60
yeah,
a year?
a year. Thank you. Even $60 a month wouldn't be bad for this deal, but it's a year. I mean, you're getting hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars of savings.
Yeah, well, you figure you get $50 of the savings every month, so you're up to $600 in savings for $60 a year.
There you go. Is there a way to get more savings?
Yeah, you can. Which the savings, the great news about the savings program is it increases and benefits the customer.
Okay.
I mean, the school, rather.
Okay.
It benefits the school all the time. So if you decide to take $100 a month in benefits, which may cost you $9, may cost you $9.95, now At $100, at $9.95, really benefits the school. And then if you decide to do a $250 program where you get $250 in credit a month, which is $12.95.
Oh, good grief. Yes, why
So
wouldn't
for-
you? That
Yeah,
just makes
for
sense.
$12.95, you save $250 on hotels and
Wow.
on food and
That's
on
perfect.
everything.
Okay, well, I want mine. Will, it's the end of the hour, so the F word is over for tonight. But we're not done talking about all this stuff. But everybody, you will learn more. We're going to put it out on the website. You're going to find out how you can get this and how you can get in touch with me or Will to get this for your organization, your team, however you want to get it set up, but we're going to get it done for you. Thank you tonight for being on the F word